Hey everybody, so I wanted to go through some strategies here for just figuring out how to put one of these onto an actual piece of green paper so you can get something like this out of it. I'm not going to go through actually doing it. I'm just showing you that I have this example because it's a really long process and we're at the point now where everybody is going to have such a deviation from my examples because you're doing your own work that it just doesn't make sense for me to go through this except on a case by case basis if someone's really stuck. So really my message here is it's time for you to problem solve and work, really on your own as much as you can. But, I'm still here for you if you need it. So we have to remember the ultimate goal, if you think about it, is, and I'm going to use a white sheet of paper just because it's easier and it's cheaper. If you remember here, it's hard for me to see. We're going to have a border on this, okay? And I'm just sort of mocking this up. This is definitely not the right sizes, and I know you probably can't even see. I'm probably off the screen a little bit right now. Oh, that was kind of on the screen. This camera doesn't quite capture a whole piece of paper. um, and we're going to have our title block here, and it's going to be chopped up into a number of sections, something like that, right? So this represents your sheet of paper that you have to work with. Okay, what you have to really consider is what is this drawing area, because we're not going to go down into the title block and we're not going to go outside of the border. Okay, so if I tell you how high, oh, look at that, I can almost get the whole sheet of paper. If I tell you that one of these green sheets of paper, okay, which is bigger than a white sheet of paper, from the absolute total, bottom to the top, I have a red pen here that I wanted to use, from the bottom to the top, so I'm going to draw a line right over everything, bottom to the top, all right, this distance from here to here, right there, that is 9 inches, okay? Coming back from that, this comes back 3/8 of an inch. Remember, that is the thickness of the acrylic on our T-squares. That is 3/8 of an inch. So our border from the top is 3/8 of an inch. From the bottom, same distance, 3/8, 3/8 of an inch. And then up to there, it's also 3/8 of an inch. So that's 3 times 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 plus 3/8 plus 3/8. Okay, that is 9/8 of an inch, right? So that's 1/8 more than 8/8 of an inch. So this is really equal to 1 and 1/8 of an inch. What that means is that if we're subtracting 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, all right, that means that the distance from here to here, I actually remembered to leave a gap this time. Sorry, all the other ones I wrote next to it, is really 9 inches minus 1/8 of an inch. So that's 9, 8, 7, and 7/8 of an inch that I have to work in. All right, that is my overall working height. And we can do the exact same thing to figure out the overall working width. I'm going to just get this clipboard out of here. And I'm sorry, my paper is distorted, it looks like in the view, but you guys will figure it out. So the overall width of a sheet of green paper, so that's from, this sheet of green paper here, is actually 12 inches. That's why we use the green paper. It's bigger. It's about a ½ inch bigger than 8.5 by 11 computer paper. So this is 12 inches. Dang it, I forgot to leave a gap again. All right, we know that this distance back, 3/8. This distance back, 3/8. So that's 3/8 plus 3/8. This one's a little easier. That comes out to 6/8, which is equal to 3/4 if we divide the top and bottom by 2. So that means that this inside distance here, I'll draw it right about here. I'm going to leave a gap this time from here over to here. Okay, that inside distance is 12 minus 3/4, so that's 11 and 1/4 of an inch. So that's your overall width. So the working space that you have to work inside of is 7/8 of an inch tall and 11/4 of an inch wide, 11 and 1/4 of an inch wide. So what does that mean for trying to fit one of these on here? Well, part of the reason I'm going through all this is you have to make sure that your design is going to fit on here, and you have to decide if you need to scale it down or not. If we use the 16 side or the full scale side, that's all fine and well. But if you're making something that's a giant block and it's a foot wide, it's definitely not going to fit on a sheet of green paper. Okay, so I'm going to go through now that we've done the breakdown of how the green paper works and your actual drawing area, which again, the overall drawing area that you have inside of your border here is 11 1/4 this way by 7 7/8 tall. All right, that was a really crappy green paper drawing. This border is massive. We have to fit our whole drawing inside of that. Okay, so if we're calculating this, I'm doing this in red now. Actually, you know what? I'll use green. We have to account for things that stick out. So really, I need to find the distance from here to here. And that's not a dimension I'm actually going to add to my drawing. This is just for calculation purposes. I know that this inside part is 3 inches. I can see that right there. So I'm going to just start adding. So this will be 3 inches plus I have to go from this edge up to the center of that circle, which if I look, it's 3/4 of an inch for all these. That's why I wrote typical. So that'll be plus 3/4 of an inch to come up here, 3/4 of an inch, plus another distance, which is going to be half of this diameter. So that's plus half of a fraction like this. We double the bottom. It might be hard to see, but that says, I can zoom in. There we go. 11/16. So half of 11/16, we double the bottom, is 11/32, which is super close to 12/32, which is really 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to just cross this out and write 3/8 of an inch. If you need to do the math on that, you can go punch 12/32 into a calculator and then punch 3/8 and see that they're equal. Trust me on that one. But that gives us the distance from here to here, right? So I'm actually going to keep adding because I also have to add that same amount to the bottom. So I'm going to also add another 3/4 because now I'm going from here to the center of this circle, that distance. And then another, what did I say? 3/8? 3/8. Okay. So that's going to give me the overall height of this. So let's figure that out right now. So let's see, this is 3/4, this is 3/4. 2 times 3/8 is actually another 3/4. You could just punch this into a calculator, do math however you're going to do. But this is 3 3/4, 4 1/2, plus 5 1/4. 5 1/4. I think I'm right on that one. Now I'm worried that I'm not right. 3. All right, I think we're right on that. So that means this total height is 5 1/4. Yes. Okay, so that's 5 1/4. I know that the gap I have to leave between views is 1.5 inches minimum. If I have more room, I could do more. And this should fit. So now I'm doubting myself. I lost my paper that had my confirmation of my calculations on it. Oh, it's right here. So the total height of that one is about 5. Well, I was pretty close. It's about 5. Okay, 5 1/4. All right, let's keep going. This is going to be 1 from here to here, right? Because I just put it right there. So now let's tally up the total for our total height. And I'm going to draw height arrows up here. So let's put a line there. So this was 5 1/4 plus 1 1/2 for the space in between, plus 1 gives us 5, 6, 7 3/4. So 7 3/4. Hoo-wee! Is that close to 7 7/8, which was our overall height. But you know what? It's less than 7 7/8. It's going to leave us a tiny bit of space. And I think I actually overcalculated because I rounded up. And it's hard to see, but this is the final drawing. Man, was it close at the top and the bottom, but it fit. Okay, there's about 1/8 at the top and bottom. In my situation here, it seems like I only have about 1/16 at the top and bottom, but really that's going to come out right because I overestimated because I rounded up for the 11/32. So that'll be good for the height. So I know my height will work. Now I got to figure out my width. Well, this one's a lot easier. I already kind of did this, right? I know that the height of this top view is going to be the same as the width because everything's symmetrical. So I can just steal this number a second time, which I think I'm off by a tiny bit in that. But we're just going to roll with it for now. So 5 1/4. So check your math, people. So that's the overall width. That is definitely coming in at less than 11 1/4. It actually may have made more sense now that I'm thinking in retrospect for me to have turned my paper this way. That's totally fine if you choose to do that because it works better. Just kind of fudge the title block, make sure you have all the info in it, chop it up in a way that makes sense, and that'll be totally okay. So that's kind of the breakdown of how you can lay this out. So I hope this helps people figuring out if something fits on a piece of paper. Obviously, if you realize that something is bigger than it should be, if it's going to be bigger than the piece of paper, you could cut the scale in half and just use one of these. As long as it's not bigger than twice the piece of paper, right? Cutting it in half is going to work. So if this came to be, if your overall height here ended up being 2 times this, which would be what, 14 and 15 or 16, somewhere around there, then obviously it's going to be too big to cut it in half. You would have to do quarter scale in order to fit it on your piece of paper. So use your best judgment there. And I hope this video helps people figure out if their shape is going to fit on the page. I will probably try to do another video for actually laying it out on the page, but I think you guys should be able to figure that out. Ask if you need help. So I may not do another video right now. We'll see how people do on this. So that's all, folks. Hope this helps.